everyone, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 5 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, the one big question for you today is a really big question. Do you think it's too early to think we've won the title in February? Yep, it's been going that well. Welcome back to Truro City, and it has indeed been going that well. We'll look at the recent results in just a second, but we sit, in league terms, top of the table after playing 20 league matches. The nearest rivals that we've got are Scunthorpe, who are currently, 9 points behind us, but they've played 4 games more than we have. And the other rival is Torquay, who are currently played 19 games and they're on 38 points. So even if they win their game in hand over us, that only takes them to 41 points, 12 points behind us. See what I mean? Is it too early to think we've won the league already? I mean, we're not even halfway through the season yet, but it has been going phenomenally well. So let's go and check it all out as we look back on the most recent results. Quite a bit to tell you about here, really. So the first thing that we'll talk about is the Barnsley match. We did actually get through the FA Cup second round against Harrogate, the team that are in the division above us, and we really played very well. 2-0, Ball and D'Souza getting the goals for us, and we looked phenomenal on that particular day. We drew Barnsley. I didn't think it was quite a big enough side to bring us back for early to play the game, and I kind of thought we would just lose, to be honest. But I kind of wish I had brought you back now. We lost it away from home, but it was a 4-3 scoreline. And we took a really early lead from McJanet and then had to come back into the game a little bit later in the match. But we did so well. I was really impressed by them. And I think that we showed everybody that within the context of where we currently sit in terms of our league, I think we're head and shoulders above everybody else, to be honest. And I think that's only going to show in the second half of the season as well. So Barnsley from the Championship, we gave them a really, really big scare, but we couldn't quite pull off a huge upset. And we went out of the FA Cup at the third round. Fair enough, no problem with that. That's just one of those things. The FA Cup is a thing that we'll have to focus on later on in the series, I would suggest, a bit more. We also went through in the Build Base FA Trophy, played Dagenham and Redbridge. Next time round, we get Chesterfield. If you remember, Chesterfield went up last season instead of us, basically, and looked pretty good doing it. So they're a difficult side, and so we'll be interesting to see how we get on against them. So that's coming up fairly soon. In between all of that, what a run of league results this has been. Right the way back to Boreham Wood, where we drew 0-0 in the middle part of December. We've been through January completely in the league, completely without a defeat, which is fantastic, without even a draw. Loads of goals in there. Let's do my favourite activity of this particular series just at this moment and look through for the strikers and see where they have helped us out. So in the last episode, Halifax, Charlie Ball got the goal. And then if we just go down the list, the next game, McJanet got 1. Next game, Charlie Ball. Then McJanet got 3. Horsewood came up next with a couple of goals, plus Andrew Neal got 1 as well. In the following match, Ed McJanet got on the score sheet again, as he did in the following game and the following game. Charlie Ball then steps in with a goal, and to round it all off, Horsewood got 1 in the last match against Eastleigh. All of our strikers all on target in the space of January, which is fantastic. They have been doing brilliantly well for us. If we can keep those 4 together, one of them's on loan, but the rest of them are in the club. We do have one other issue I'll tell you about with them in a minute. But if we can keep them at the club for next season, if we get promoted, it'll be really interesting to see whether they can do this in League 2 as well, wouldn't it really? But they have been brilliant. And today we get to play Notts County, sitting in 11th. If we go and look at the league table again, you'll see them sitting in 11th, 22 games played, 30 points. 23 behind us. Again, this should be an opportunity for us really to show our dominance and get another very, very good win. We are away from home, so it's going to be a little bit tricky because of that. Excuse me, as I got an itch on my eye. Random things that happen when you're recording. But yeah, they're in 11th. They're at home though, so it's going to be a little bit more tricky. But ultimately, with the run of form we're on, we should be doing really, really well in these types of games. And there you go, Ed McJanet, top scorer in the club, 19 goals so far this season. Phenomenal. And the others are not far behind him. Let's just go check that out. Look at these four strikers. Horswood, 18 goals. Charlie Ball coming back from that really big injury for most of the first half of the season. 3 in the last 9 appearances. So he's a little bit behind everybody else. Andrew Neal started with us, remember. Been in the club right from the beginning. 2 divisions below where we are now. He's got 14 goals in 16 starts. And there's Ed McJanet, 19 in 19 starts. Phenomenal achievement by the strikers and very ably supported by everybody else. So just before we go into today's game, we're just going to go back to the squad page and tell you about 2 bits of issues that we've got. Not issues, wrong word. Business that we've done, let's say. So the first off is Wright Phillips. You remember last episode I talked about wanting to bring him into the club permanently off of his loan deal because that would free us to play all of the other loan players currently in the club in our matchday squad. We could only have 5 in a matchday squad and we had 6 in the squad in total. So eventually we did manage to do that. He is now on a long-term contract till 2026, a couple of years from now, which is really good. And I think, again, if we move up a division, I think this guy can still do it, and has so far been very good for us. 5 goals, 4 assists in 13 appearances off the right wing. Not bad at all. So he has come into the club permanently, which is fantastic. The only downside that we've got currently going on with our players is to Thomas Horswood, one of our big strikers, as you recall, 18 goals in 16 starts. And the problem that we've got is that last season he wasn't playing. He wasn't particularly good last season. If we go and look at his statistics, you'll see that last season he only played 6 games for us and didn't score a goal. And therefore I couldn't rely on him. So he didn't play very much. And so at some point he got a bit upset by that, naturally, and asked if I would sell him, which I promised to do. And that promise is still hanging over him. He still is making noises that he expects us to sell him, even though now he's a really big influential part of our team. I am hoping that over the second half of the season that he will change his mind and settle back down again. But just at the moment, there is potentially an issue if we don't sell him. Hopefully getting promoted, hopefully giving him the game time he's looking for will change it. As I say, just at the moment, not quite happening, which is a little bit of a worry, but I think we can probably turn him around if we continue in the way that we have been. So those are the issues that we've sorted out or need sorting out in the near future. So everything is looking fantastically brilliant, other than maybe the finances of the club, but we'll skirt over that for now. Something that we're going to have to rearrange as we move higher up the divisions, I think. Just to realign that somewhat. But today it's all about Notts County and continuing the good run of form. So we do have one key injury, and that's to Kazoo, who is normally in our central defence here alongside Whitmore. He normally plays in the central defence. Today he's got a little bit of a knock. It's not a bad one. He'll be out for a couple of days, but I don't want to risk him. We don't need to. We're comfortably ahead in the division, so we can rotate the squad a little bit here and there and keep everybody as fit and healthy as possible. So that means that Stavrou comes in his place. Charlie Ball is the one of our strikers that have obviously had some problems with injury, hasn't quite hit the ground running as much as the others have. So he drops out of the squad today. And all of that means that mostly we're back to our full strength starting lineup. against Notts County other than Kazoo. So today we've gone with Roberts in goal, Rogers at right back, Dunlan at left back, Stavrou and Whitmore in central defence, Bucock and Williams in central midfield, Wright Phillips on the right, D'Souza on the left, and Horsewood and McJanet up top with a bench of Chanel, Casey, Mundell, Salam and Neil. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So with the current run of form that we're on, why wouldn't we just open the arms out, encourage the players and say, if you play your natural game, the result will come. Why wouldn't we use that kind of team talk? Because it's absolutely true. If we play our game today, then I don't think many teams in this division can cope with us. But we still have to go and do it. We still have to get on that football pitch and absolutely play as well as we can do. So let's see how we get on today. We're obviously away from home, so that changes it a little bit. But you can see Notts County have come in with a 4-2-3-1. And there was a good opportunity for a decent delivery into the penalty box from us from the free kick, but it was cleared very well by Notts County, and they've settled down the play just to set their shape up quite well, and they go over the top on the left hand side for them. But on our right fullback position, Rogers wins the ball, and he puts it over the top for McJanet. He loses the ball, but we regain it in midfield with Williams, sweeps it out wide right to Wright Phillips, into the box, into Horsewood, and on the follow-up, Wright Phillips has a chance as well, but the goalkeeper clambers it away. Corner comes in, and the header over the top from Wright Phillips. Yeah, not quite as good as we'd like in terms of the finishing quality, but good to see that we're putting on the pressure and causing some problems. 9 shots at goal in the first half so far. Rogers with the throw-in. Wright Phillips knocks it down to McJanet. Loses the ball again from a bit of a block, but we do regain the possession and we drop it back in defence, and then a very poor ball from Stavrou gives it straight to Notts County. And then unfortunately for Notts County, Robert seems to have got an injury on the ball, and the play continues with D'Souza down the left hand side, and the ball comes in again, and there's Wright Phillips. And you have to suggest that Notts County are very unlucky for that. They had possession. Out of nowhere, the person on the ball crumples to the floor, obviously strained a muscle or something. The play has to continue because nobody's done anything wrong. And we regained possession at that point, worked it down the left-hand side. D'Souza crosses the ball in, and there is Wright Phillips cutting in off the other side to put the ball away for a 1-0 lead. 36 minutes, I think that sort of goal was timed at. And so we got a few more minutes of the first half to go just to see if we can stamp our authority on the game even more. As I sneeze and couldn't control it, excuse me. But yeah, Rogers down that right-hand side with a throw-in, dropped it back to Bucock, and he again, the block from the defensive midfielders come in. Well, actually, they're attacking midfielders that are doing their defensive duty, and they're doing very well, but ultimately, the ball came in anyway. It ran right the way through. D'Souza had to go and claim it. And what's happened here? There's been a push in the box, and we've been given a penalty, and it's Horsewood that's going to take the penalty kick. Another chance for one of our strikers to get on the score sheet, and he manages it with no problems whatsoever. Right-footed into that far corner, and the goalkeeper didn't even move, and just before half-time, we take a 2-0 lead. And I think it's another good game for us to be able to open up a little bit and play our natural game and get a few more goals maybe. Another opportunity down the right-hand side just before half-time. Again, they clear it, but only to Stavrou, into Bucock in midfield. Takes his time to turn. Should possibly not have passed it out to Rogers, but Rogers made the most of it and eventually gets the ball in the box. And there is another one from our strike force. And again, it's Horsewood with the finish. A little bit lucky on that particular occasion just to get Rogers on the ball, but he makes the most of it, whips a good ball into the near post, and it's Horsewood that runs across the front of the defender, gets to the ball first, and hooks the ball in the back of the net with the right foot. And we're going to go into half-time, potentially 3 goals up. But just as we speak, Notts County get one back, and it was a complete mess up in the defence. Goalkeeper, defender, nobody really knew who was clearing it. Nobody properly cleared it, and Notts County sniffed out the moment, and they got themselves a goal back. And it's Stavrou again in place of Kazoo today, remember. Stavrou's played a lot this season, but normally in a rotated lineup alongside other players. And so far, he hasn't quite managed to cover himself in glory today. But then neither has Whitmore either. Both of them on a 6.6 and a 6.7. Yeah, central midfield looking the same as well. But on the wide areas and up front, we're doing much, much better. And it's led to a 3-1 scoreline at half-time. So what have we got? We've got a bit of complacency. Not sure I like that in and around the team, but it's kind of understandable, I guess. So let's just see if we can get the hands together. Say we've been playing well, but there is still room for improvement. And then as soon as we get them back out, we're going to demand more from them just to see if we can keep pushing forward, keep them on the front foot and take away some of that complacency. We were on the ball momentarily, but Notts County win it back and they've dropped it back into midfield to reset their shape again, which they seem to do very, very nicely. They've done it a couple of times now. They used the front man to bring the ball up the pitch, but he drops it back into midfield, and then the support players move further up, and there's the ball in, and Roberts came out of his goal to come and claim the ball and absolutely flapped at it. Really high delivery. It goes over the top of Roberts in goal, and Notts County have got another easy goal. It was a good long ball in, but the goalkeeper should have done a lot better. And because he didn't, it opened up the space for Palmer to just nip in and head into a completely open net. And we are beginning just to let this slide a little bit. So at 59 minutes, I'm going to go into the tactics and we're going to change it up a little bit, because however high we are in the division, we don't want to be losing silly points if we can help it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back in to our 4-2-3-1 formation. We're going to switch Horsewood into the... Oh, this is going to take me a little bit moment just to get this sorted. McJanet up top, D'Souza on the left, right, Phillips on the right, the rest of them is fine. And we've dropped Horsewood just into that attacking midfield role, because if we go and look at his ability to play it, his passing's not very good, but what we want him to play, we're going to turn him into it in a second, is a shadow striker. And you can see he can kind of play it, but we will probably make a change of personnel in a little while. So we're going to go in and change him into that shadow striker and just see if he can support McJanet from slightly deeper. And we've changed the mentality into balance because of it, and more of a direct counter-attacking style when we win the ball back. So just a little bit of a change of focus for the last half hour of the match, just to see if we can hold on to the lead. They've dropped into a 4-4-2, so they've changed as well. So hopefully we can just see this game out and run the clock down a little bit and not cause ourselves any problems. So we are going to switch this round a bit. We're going to put Horsewood up front with 20 minutes to go now, and we're going to take McJanet out and put Mundell into that attacking midfield role, which he can play perfectly well. We'll move him back to the attacking midfield support role, so he can play that. And then what else are we going to change? We've got an issue in defence, but I think we're going to leave that roughly where it is just for now and work on our... what we're going to do here, we could work on our midfield a little bit, but we've already brought Mundell on. I think we will work on the defence then. We're going to take Dunlan off just to protect him a little bit. And we're going to bring Chanel in as Stavrou's normal partner in a central defence when they play, just to see if that can shore them up a little bit for the last 20 minutes of the game. Bit of a challenge when there's only 5 on the bench sometimes to figure out how you can change as much as you need to in your starting lineup. But I think we've managed it. I think we've settled the game down. I think that's good game management just to see if we can calm it down a little bit. And it looks like we've done it, and we have. We've got through to the full-time whistle. That second half was a little bit fraught at the beginning with that the goals from... Notts County. My mind went blank. But ultimately, the rest of it was fairly quiet, wasn't it, really? And in the end, we did win the game, but only just at 3-2. So what can we learn from this particular performance? Well, what we can learn from the statistics is we played very well for most of the game. 18 shots at goal, 9 on target compared to 9 and 5 for them. XG rating of 2.74, so pushing that 3, which is what we ultimately got. And Notts County obviously did pretty well. They only got an XG of 1.03, but they got 2 goals from it, which is well above expectation. And that's because we made errors. And it's primarily these guys at the back here that were not focused on what they needed to be doing. The goalkeeper missed that second goal for Notts County. And Stavru and the goalkeeper got in a muddle for the first goal as well. So we did cause our own problems a little bit. But where did it work for us? Well, that's kind of plain, isn't it, really, when you look around. Dunlan is the starting fullback on the left side, and he got a 7.3. Rogers on the right side as a fullback got a 7.1. Both of our wingers got over a 7 average, and then, of course, Horsewood with 2 goals in the end got a 7.4 as well. 7.4, Wright Phillips was our best performer on the day. So that's where we won it, from the wide areas and the guy up top putting the ball in the back of the net. And that is, after all, how we set this team up to play, mostly until we changed it towards the latter part of the game. It's all about the wide play, the wing play, and getting it into the box for those strikers. Normally 2 of them. We dropped one out eventually just to see the game out. But 45% possession for Notts County, 55 for us, not bad. Little bit low in the pass completed, but that's not overly concerning when we win the game, I suggest, really. If we go and take a closer look, a very good group of chances for us in that central part of the penalty box. That we didn't take as many as we might have been able to, really. But ultimately, we did well to create those chances. You can see that the chances for Notts County are a little bit more spread out and a little bit less easy, I would suggest, some of them. But of course, we made errors for their goals. In terms of our heat map, if you can, you can't see the Notts County one because it's sitting behind my head on the camera. But if you can see, this is the defensive line for Truro. And if I move the cursor down, this is where the defensive line was sitting for Notts County. So they were sitting really deep, which encouraged us to move on to them and encouraged us to get our goals. And we really did pretty well on it. We dominated the midfield action zones, which is great. And then DiMaggio Wright Phillips was man of the match, which is fantastic. Let's go and look at a bit more detail in our attempts at goal. 3 goals scored, all from within the penalty box, all very central, very nice play to get the chances for our guys. Off target, 1 from long range. Again, a good group from that central area in the penalty box that we got our goals from. So maybe there could have been 1 or 2 more in there just to really put the game to bed if we'd have really finished our chances a little bit better. 1 off the woodwork from the right-hand side from quite a narrow angle. 6 were saved by the goalkeeper, so he did pretty well, really. A couple from long range, and again, a couple from that central position in the penalty box. And then the defenders blocking on the edge of the box as well. So a good array of shots. Potentially, we could have done a little bit better with some of them, I would suggest. Here's the pass completed map, because it just makes me laugh. I don't know what you're supposed to learn from it, other than we passed the ball quite a lot. Anyway, intercepted, not too bad. Couple of longer passes from our own half, which didn't quite find the target. But other than that, that's not too bad. Couple of passes that were blocked down this left-hand side specifically. So the defensive unit from Notts County were working pretty well here and there. Unsuccessful ones, we forget these ones because they're clearing the ball. We forget the throw-in ones just because every so often one of those works. But in this middle part of the pitch, there are quite a few, and there's quite a few from the likes of Dunlan, who was obviously cutting over onto this far side from where he normally starts, probably on taking free kicks and stuff from deep. But yeah, a couple that maybe we could have done a little bit better with. 77 is a little bit high, really. Out of play, not too bad at all. So the accuracy of passing around our team was fairly decent. A couple of sweeping balls out to the wide men that didn't quite find their mark. 13 key passes, and that's a really interesting stat, isn't it? Really, we got 3 goals from the chances that we created. 9 shots at goal in the end or something. 13 key passes though, so that again shows that we're setting up strike opportunities pretty well, and then not quite taking as many as maybe we could, even though we got 3 goals. And what we see here is the 4 chance created. So these are the key ones from crosses from the left and the right. A couple from Rogers down the right hand side, one from D'Souza and one from Dunlan on this left hand side, getting that ball in the box for properly good attempts at goal. None hit the woodwork. And these are the passes received. Oh, let's put them together. Passes completed and passes received. They're basically the same, aren't they, really? I don't understand the difference. But anyway, that's the passing for today. So it was reasonable. I think there are 1 or 2 things that we can improve there, though, slightly. Let's go and look at this one, though, because this is key, I think. So in the heading department, because I think this is where we lost the goals that we did, really. We won a fair few, and the likes of Stavrou did pretty well in this group here to clear the ball with the header, which is good for the central defender. We won a lot down the right-hand side from Wright Phillips as well, but we lost a fair few right the way up the team, which is okay. That's natural. That happens. Headers missed. Now, this is one thing that is a bit of a misconception, I think, on this particular game is just because they're not registering it here. What I do see is the one that came over the top for the goalkeeper to come out is kind of one of these aerial challenges, really. So I think there is a mistake in there. It's just not a header, is it? Because it's the goalkeeper. But he came out and flapped like nobody's business for the goal that he let in. And then this is the one we need, mistakes. And they don't register either of them as mistakes. The goalkeeper coming out and flapping, and also Stavrou and the goalkeeper getting in a complete mix-up and passing the ball to Notts County instead of clearing it, and they get a goal from it. Why is that not a mistake? Anyway, it's apparently not. But we can see that we played pretty well, and we gave away 2 fairly cheap goals. Still came away with the points, though. So just to finish off this episode, we're going to figure out what's coming next. And my thought is, to be honest, that, I mean, we do have quite a lot of games still to play, but we are really far ahead. So I'm thinking that this is going to be a fairly good run-in for us. So what I'm thinking is that Notts County is the last game we played. We're going to come back and we're going to play the Torquay match because they're still one of the key opponents for us as we move through to the last part of the season, really. I don't see many others getting much closer to us than Torquay can. So if we can come back and win that game, I think we're a shoo-in for the title at that point particularly. So we're going to come back. So there's quite a lot of games between now and then just to play through. But I think we'll do this second half of the season quite quickly. We've already done a season in this league and we're looking very comfortable, as I say. So Torquay will be next. And then we might do one more in this kind of section, maybe against Aldershot and then one against Yeovil to finish off. Something like that. But yeah, it will be fairly quick through the last part of this season just because I think it's going to be quite successful for us. And it's not often you get a chance to say that really in February. But if we look at this league table, it does make for fantastic reading, doesn't it, at this point in the season? So join us next episode. Join us for the Torquay match. See if we can finally put them to bed completely as well. Other than that, where do you see a title challenger coming from? Because I'm failing to see it myself. So yeah, there we go. Join me for next episode. We'll play Torquay. Thank you for joining me today, though. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode if you can. That helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.